Welcome back. Okay, so I had planned to do a cold opening before the opening credits. And in fact, had been told by my crew that, yeah, absolutely, we're good. Let this be example number 1 of 37 that I will give ultimately, that we've not done a show since December 2nd. It is in fact February 17th, and I apologize to the, to the crew. It's my fault. I've asked too much.
It takes a village.
It takes a village, not a town of village idiots, which we clearly are. And by we, I mean me. Welcome back. I'm so unbelievably excited. I am remiss for the lengthy sojourn elsewhere. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, using the word sojourn when in fact I'm not familiar with it. February 17th in the year 2013.
Year of our Lord. Please get it right.
I keep writing, no, it's not the year of our Lord.
No?
Why does he get every year?
Well, because we started with him.
It's bullshit.
Every year is the year of our Lord.
No.
No?
No.
All right.
This is the year of Richard Kind. Okay?
Wait, that's who I was talking about.
2013 is the year of Richard Kind.
That's what I was talking about when I said our Lord.
Richard Kind is the Christmas miracle.
He is the Christmas miracle. Let's stop kidding ourselves. I'm so unbelievably excited about our guest today. I'm going to try not to waste too much time, but because we've been away for so long, I feel as though we need to get to know you again. We will have exciting news in a couple of weeks about a new home for the show. We've gone rogue. We've broken off from the thisweekend.com network that we started with almost 4 years ago. How about that? March 22nd, I believe, is our 4-year anniversary. This is show 163, they tell me. So that's 40 episodes out of 52 weeks a year. Go fuck yourself. Why am I getting shit for not doing enough shows?
Right?
Oh, it's the voice in my head.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought somebody was yelling. People have asked, where have you been? People are yelling on Twitter. Today's guest is because of Twitter. He's maybe the 38th guest we've had because someone yelled at him and me on Twitter saying, why aren't you fucking doing the show? And then the guest says, I'd love to. And then I say,
necessary?
The profanity?
Yeah.
It's not necessary.
Are all of our Twitter followers truck drivers?
No, they're sailors.
Oh.
They've been at sea.
They've been at sea.
Among only men.
Where there's Wi-Fi now.
Where there is now, in fact, Wi-Fi. Yeah. Sammy!
Hey, buddy!
You're back!
Well, my show got canceled.
Are you done doing harm?
We are very much done.
Why did you single-handedly ruin NBC?
Because they did not learn their lesson last decade.
Which was, why did you let Seinfeld go?
Putting Freaks and Geeks on the air.
Oh.
Yeah. See, I'm the curse.
Turns out once every 11 years, you show up, and everything goes in the shitter.
Everything goes to shit.
Unbelievable.
So look for my next NBC project sometime in 2021.
All right. Thanks for the heads up.
My pleasure.
Well,
Appreciate that.
I have this vision now of Sam dressed as a peacock.
Oh, man. Is that a great plan for Halloween? Yeah. By the way, go back to the Jamie Sammy can for a second. How about, is that in HD really with that extraordinary backdrop? That looks like right out of the USS Enterprise. Nope. And then now on me, how about more schwitz on the forehead? Is that possible?
It's
Look
a
at
little
that
warm in
shiny
here.
head.
It's a little warm.
Signaling ships at sea. Said Don Rickles on the set of Casino, and I wrote it down. I said, I'll steal that for the rest of my life. We missed Samantha Ward, speaking of all the schwitzing, but we had Angie.
Who's a dear friend of Samantha.
Who's a dear friend of Samantha, so very Angie Johnson helping out today, filling in. We have some great shows coming up. Mark Duplass, John Favreau, and the Munch of March. In case you're wondering how to pronounce it, it's Munch of March.
What about Smart?
Lousy smart weather.
I'm doing the buffering gag, guys, so if you talk, it kind of fucks it up. No one will think that that's buffering if the... How about the wheel, fellas? Do we know how to put the wheel on? Oh, there's the wheel. The wheel always works when I'm moving, too. If you want to support the show as you insist you do, go to our homepage, kevinpolishchatshow.com. There's a Amazon banner. Find it. Click through on your way to Amazon. It'll take an extra 4 seconds, and we get 19 cents every time you do.
Is it really 19 cents?
No.
It's like 19th of a cent.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's tax.
Fuck. I'm never going to see a buck from this. Last show was December 12th with Scott Ackerman, which is also a clue. Are we? Hey, this can't be good. J-Mac has entered the space shuttle. This can't be good. He's going to reboot something. Oh, like Jamie's sound. Yep.
It was never.
Jamie's going to do the rest of the show in kabuki makeup. She started the show in French mime.
I was being really. This really stinks because I was pretty on. And was
You were
being quite
delightful
funny.
and humorous.
Nobody's heard the peacock. I was like, why is nobody like the peacock?
They picked you up on my mic.
Oh, this is terrible.
Yeah, they picked her up
I
like
was being
this.
clever.
Why she Sam dressed as a peacock?
I was spotting mailboxes left and right.
So first show in 2013, my first question, how were your holidays? Did you enjoy my new book? Silence and the buffering wheel. Now it feels like a show. Can we start over?
Let's.
I mean, 4 years ago. Sammy, welcome back.
Thank you.
Tell us something about Philadelphia we didn't know. You spent so much time there. We would do a show. We would
Yeah.
show your empty seat. We
Yeah.
would do a joke in your honor.
Yeah.
So give us a little piece of Philadelphia you brought home with you.
My absolute pleasure.
Okay.
Philadelphia, the city motto is that an alley? Because I'm going to take a dump.
I thought it was the city of brotherly love.
No, it's the city of brotherly dumps. Not a doubt in my mind. My first night there, I saw a man taking a shit in an alley. And this was not a homeless man, and this was not, there were lots of dumpsters in this alley. He was right in the middle of it. He was not seeking shelter anywhere. He was like, well, this seems as good a place as any. Right there. And that was my first night there.
That was your first night?
And then I saw it happen 2 more times over the course of the next 6 months.
You just happened to pass Shit Alley.
All different alleys, every time.
Yeah. And if you asked the bum, would he say, there are dumpsters there?
These were not homeless people.
Why can't I dump?
I don't know. Maybe the bars.
Were they doctors, lawyers? What were they?
Astronauts?
Astronauts?
It's hard to say. I don't know. Maybe it's something about bars won't let you take dumps in there.
Yeah.
So people are like, well, I got to go to the alley, I guess.
Wait a minute. You're not actually suggesting as an explanation.
This is the only explanation I can come up with. Is that, have you ever been to one of those bars? You've been to one of those bars. Well, you haven't because you're a lady. But in men's rooms, they'll do a thing where it's like urinal, stall, but then the stall has no door.
Bars often have unisex.
So
restrooms,
really,
it's
all you
like-
can do is use the toilet like it's a urinal. You can't sit there. There's no door. There's no privacy. That's my guess. There's too many bars like that in Philly, so people are like, well, I can't hold this anymore. I'll just go to the alley behind the bar.
I am never going to look at Philly the same way, and I can't wait to go there so I can shit in an alley.
Also, the food's delicious and there's too much of it.
Well, clearly.
That's the problem.
There's so much
really.
food, they're dumping in alleys.
They're dumping it in alleys.
Yeah. People leaving their homes.
So you think the cheese whiz would back you up?
You,
But no.
you would think that.
No.
Not the case. Jamie,
Yes.
anything we can catch up with on
There was a
something to share?
There's a dude in here that was
I'll
went
say.
and saw Talk and Walkin' at Sketchfest. I gotta find his name.
Oh,
It was like J-Man King is his username, and he reminded me of my Larry David experience.
he
Because
reminded you or it reminded you?
It reminded me of my Larry David experience at the Punchline. It was and it was also took place in a restroom, but it was and I'm gonna butcher the story because I tell the worst stories ever.
Okay.
But it was a restroom that had one stall, and so I went in, and there was 2 people occupying the stall, and they were being quite chatty.
Door closed.
Door closed,
Can't see 'em.
locked, can't see them.
But 4 feet.
Yeah, and then we're being very, very, very chatty, and I'm thinking immediately my head goes to, well, they're doing coke in here. They're clearly doing coke. Like, why are they being so talkative? And I'm getting really, and they're in there forever. And I'm waiting and waiting. I actually exit at one point, come back in. They're still in there. I'm like cursing them at the top of my lungs. And whenever they exit, it is a woman helping another handicapped woman use the restroom. Like, I am like the most awful person on the planet. And I'm like, see, this is what happens.
That was totally Larry David, though.
And Larry David
wait,
moment.
I misunderstood. So was Larry David one of the women?
No, this is something that would happen
Oh,
to
I
Larry.
see. I see.
That's something he would have yelled at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what were some of the snide, under your breath, not so subtle?
Oh, I don't, I was just
Yeah.
muttering like, you gotta wait because people are doing blow. Like, what's going on? I'm terrible.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
really are terrible.
Why did my head immediately go to that?
You know, handicapped people do blow too. It really could have been that.
It could have, in fact, been.
And it was like she
Wheels.
was helping her out and
The
like helping
handicap
into
blow
a
dealer.
wheelchair. Like it was terrible.
It's a new show on NBC I'm going to pitch next week. Wheels. He may be a paraplegic, but he deals cocaine too.
There was in the original Degrassi,
Canceled.
Degrassi Junior
Sorry to be
High.
canceled.
Yes.
There was a character that was in a wheelchair that was nicknamed Wheel.
It then became Drake, I think.
No. That's Degrassi: The Next Generation.
Oh, sorry.
That was Aubrey Graham, who is now Drake. His character was Jimmy Woods. But this is a
Drake's
different-
real name again is?
Aubrey Graham.
Thank you.
Hey, that would have got us some points of trivia if we didn't double down incorrectly.
Stop.
I will have you know.
Stop. That's
That's all I talk about.
Charlie's in the trees now with you, the trivia. That's where you'll find Jamie most Sunday nights as part of a trivia league. I just Friday wrapped a motion picture, a small little indie drama called Max Rose, co-starring Mr. Jerry Lewis, who reached down from Mount Rushmore. If you read my book over the holidays, there's a story in it. 2 years ago, saying he wanted me to play his estranged son in this little drama, indie film. We just I just wrapped on it. The film finishes up this coming week. And it was an extraordinary experience. I can't wait to tell you more about it, which I will in the coming weeks. But we did so much lovely get caught up that I'm going to save it. So more on Max Rose and the Amazon banner. And I think we're done with all the business. Write to us. There's still time if you're watching live. We're taking where are they coming in from? From just the chat room? We're done with the Twitter and the, just from the chat room. KevinPollockChatShow.com, or is it Ustream, the chat room live? Where do they find you at?
It's Ustream.
Okay, there you go. Mike,
I can't multitask. You caught me when I was reading.
Ustream or KevinPollockChatShow.com.
Thank you, Sammy.
Yeah.
My guest today is still alert and excited to be here, even though he sat down 47 minutes ago to start this. We had some power outages. We had some technical snafus. We should get that little graphic from the
technical difficulties.
50s that pops up.
No. I want the one that they use on The Simpsons, where it's like, because the one that they use is a drunk guy like handling the camera. So ours could be a photo of J-Mac with like a bottle with XXX.
That would be awesome. See that? Yeah, jump on that. Please,
This is a well-oiled machine, my friend.
we need to take 6 weeks off, 9 weeks off more often.
I agree.
Would be my suggestion.
I agree.
Because it really is fascinating to see someone struggle so horribly. I'm unbelievably excited, like so many of you who first learned about this gentleman in the motion pictures and some television stuff. But big life change in every possible conceivable way, which we'll discuss at some point. We're not going to start with that. We're going to start the interview by discussing his memory of his first Yinling. Please welcome Josh Gad. Josh, do you in fact remember your first Yinling?
You know what? I do remember my first Yingling because I remember that I couldn't say it, so I would say the G. I would go Yingling.
And they love that. By
And
the
they
way.
really, they
Yeah.
didn't want to, so they gave me Bud Light. So it was, it was in Pittsburgh. I was probably a freshman. I had a fake ID
At the Carnegie Mellon.
at the Carnegie Mellon Institute of Tech /
He was hanging
acting.
out in Oakland.
I was hanging down there in Oakland and all that. That's a Yinzer accent, a really shitty one.
No,
That's what it is.
No such thing.
Yeah, no, it's inherently a
There's
shit.
no way to fuck up a Yinzer accent, as it turns out.
So I go there and I got my first Yingling.
Yeah, and pretty amazing as a wildly inexpensive.
It really is.
Beer.
I mean, it gets the job done.
Right.
It's cheap,
Yeah.
and they give it to underage people,
Which you can't beat.
which you really can't beat.
They can't wait to give it to underage people.
Yeah. No, it was one of those kind of life-changing things where you realize that you haven't had something that is so special and significant in your life. Get it?
Thank you.
Get it? Get it?
Ah.
You look so
The
handsome.
Jews sweat when they swim, just to give you an idea. We have the air conditioning pounding, and across this great land of ours, there are still some snow falling, but here in Culver City, it's 119. So you were born and raised in Hollywood, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
Wait, it's Hollywood, Florida.
Yes, even more exciting.
Even more exciting.
The
Why?
land of the dying Jews. It's a wonderful place
Right.
to be buried.
Isn't Anna Nicole Smith from there?
Anna Nicole Smith, I don't know, is she
think she
from there?
died
Is she,
there.
She died there. So
Yeah.
it's
Is that
not-
what it is?
It's not such a happy legacy that she left
Or
behind there.
proof that you don't have to just be an old Jew to die there.
That's right. Jeff Garland, Hollywood, Florida.
Also died there.
Also died. Very sad.
That's not
I hadn't heard
true.
about
Very
this. but
sudden.
Yes, very sudden. Must have
No
happened
one
today.
was expecting that.
Burt Reynolds spent some time there. I don't know that he's from there. but
Let's
he
hope
spent
he
some time.
dies there.
Let's hope he dies.
To keep-
Jackie Gleason,
Oh, right.
Honeymooners
Holy crap.
of Honeymooners.
Did you
fame.
just qualify Jackie Gleason?
Yes, I did. I just wasn't sure if you knew. Your eyes went blank.
Who is this Jackie Gleason you speak of? Now, something I've enjoyed from the Gad dossier, which is that the family lineage dates back and can be traced, in fact, to one of the original 13 tribes of Israel.
It's true.
What the fuck?
I know that my DNA it should be in a Dan Brown novel. I mean, it's like you can trace it back, and there's probably many puzzles to be solved leading back to the.
And some left alone.
And
most
some
likely.
left alone,
How
yes.
did you discover this truth?
I just basically made it up when I saw my last name was the same last name as one of the 13 tribes. No, I asked my dad, who
Made it up.
who I think might have made it up too. He claims that if you go on one of those family tree,
Look up yourshit.com.
yeah, look up yourshit.com, it traces back to Gad, which like Levi and the other ones.
Pollock.
I want to advise
Pollock.
our audience, do not go to lookupyourshit.com. It's a very different
It's
website than what
yes.
you guys are
It's-
saying.
It has a lot to do with your time in
There's a
Philly,
lot more
actually.
photos on that site than anything else.
He's right. It's about your trip to
It's
Philly.
about your trip to Philly. Yeah. I just had this image, by the way,
Photographs of
listening
an
to that
alleyway.
story, of like our forefathers as they were trying to establish our independence, taking shits in the alley in the middle of their negotiations.
They didn't have proper plumbing.
No.
Well, they had an excuse, is what they had.
Yeah.
The Lost Nomads comes out of Carnegie Mellon?
The Lost Nomads doesn't come out of Carnegie Mellon. The Lost Nomads, my wife and I were basically, the one thing I wanted to do after college was be on SNL. And the one thing SNL wanted was to not put me on. So I had to create kind of my own sort of sketch legacy for myself.
That was the one thing
It was
SNL wanted,
the one
was to
thing.
keep you
It
on.
was Lord Michael's vendetta. It was
Well,
his
according to the
agenda.
research, you got a little obsessive.
I did get obsessive. I really desperately.
3 or 4 tapes a year?
Four tapes in total.
Total.
That's just a bold-faced lie, Kevin.
If I may punch up your life story.
Why are you making me out
3
to
or
be an
4 stories
obsessive
a
monster?
year.
Yeah. So I didn't get it, and I was like, well, I want to do sketch comedy, and it was as the internet was starting to become, home to digital videos. So we created this like digital video legacy for ourselves, and lostnomads.com is our website.
Well, we do have one of your 4 auditions that you sent in to Saturday
No,
Night
you
Live.
don't.
Well, just 30 seconds of it
Okay.
is all we're going to
shit,
show.
I haven't seen this in so long. I'm
So
terrified.
let's go ahead and roll that. Nope, don't have it.
That looks very familiar.
Yeah.
It actually looks like it's being done in real time. No wonder I didn't get on. All I was doing was drinking coffee.
Yeah, if I may, loved you in the Book of Mormon, but you're horrible at sketches.
Yes, this is terrible. I was not meant to.
That
be on
hilarious
SNL.
coffee drinking bit, not as funny as
Very
you think
meta.
it is. Yeah.
It was very meta.
So here's the other interesting side note. Given your historical success on the Broadway musical stage, Carnegie Mellon said no thank you
That's true.
to you as a musical theater student.
That's true.
The fuck?
They took a page from the Lauren Michaels school book and told me to go fuck myself.
So, given these setbacks
Yes.
at this time,
these terrible setbacks of not getting on one of the hardest shows to get on.
right, but
Yes, no, absolutely.
an absolute
Well,
fantasy.
they told me, I went in and I basically, the two schools that I was focusing on were Juilliard and Carnegie Mellon. I had very high aspirations. Juilliard, I went in and I felt so good. I did a monologue from Marty by Patty Chayefsky.
You're welcome.
Yes. And come on, you really don't know Jackie Gleason? So so I did this monologue and I felt so fucking good about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm own this joint. And there's just a row of professors sitting there judging you, and not one of them responded at all. Then I went into my Shakespeare monologue, and I completely went up on it.
Puck.
And no, it was Henry VI, and some random monologue. I thought I was much smarter than I was. And I started improvising it because I forgot the actual lines because I was so nervous, and it was a disaster. It was an unmitigated disaster. So then I went to Carnegie Mellon, which was like, you can fuck up here as much as you want, but you can't sing.
Yeah, we prefer you to do Shakespeare as Mamet, if you could, actually.
That's exactly right.
Do anything you want, have a Yinling, but do not do musical theater.
No. They just...
You had no formal training as a singer.
Well, nobody had formal training at that. I mean, it was, well, that's not true. People had formal training, but no, I was doing high school musicals. I played Tevye and Fiddler, obviously. You know, one fat Jew per program has to do it.
I see.
Nicely Johnson. There was a lot of, typecasting going on in my high school. So I had that experience, but like Josh Groban was in my class, and like it was a high level of
Your
singing.
class at
Carnegie Mellon.
Carnegie Mellon.
So they were like, no, this is not going to happen. Suffice it to say, I've since gone on to do some
You're the
musicals.
Josh G we're not looking for.
That's exactly what
You've
happened.
got this other Josh G who sounds like Jesus
Yes.
when he sings.
And you sound like a person shitting in Philadelphia.
I was just going to say a guy in an alley in Philly. It's the runner. It's clearly the
It's
runner
gotta
of the
be.
show.
It's got to be. Good job.
Somebody had the
Sam.
runs. Thanks.
Good job, Sam.
Thank you.
So, does in fact being on the forensics team in high school,
Wow, you've really dug through my past.
we don't fuck around.
No, there's like
Yeah,
skeletons coming out of
J-Mac's
this
the
closet.
shit. That doesn't make you even more enamored to your classmates, does it? When you become an expert on every subject and can debate them into the ground?
Well, you know what's funny?
You looking to get your ass beat more or less?
Well, no, I was looking for any excuse to get the shit kicked out of me. But the funny thing is I did do forensics, but I didn't do debate. Like, I didn't actually do all the extemporaneous stuff and all that stuff. I did like humorous interpretation and dramatic interpretation.
Oh, great.
So it was more like acting stuff.
Side door.
Side door. I wasn't capable of doing the actual smart part of debating, just the sort of like, oh, you can memorize lines and be funny, go do that.
So why do these CSI pricks insist on using forensics incorrectly?
Because they're dicks.
All right, just checking.
And that's it. That's all you need to know.
That's all the answer I was hoping for. So then you go on to work as speech and debate camps as a coach. Again, not to get your ass kicked, but rather to help youngsters.
I wanted to help youngsters.
Yeah.
It
Hey,
was-
Josh, what'd you do this summer?
I went to go help kids in
Speech and debate camp.
low-income neighborhoods with speech and debate. Low-income being...
That's how you get me.
That was
Yeah.
the key.
Yeah.
If it weren't a low-income neighborhood,
Right.
I would have no credibility.
No.
I would have gotten the shit kicked out of me.
You might even get laid
Yes.
since it was low income.
That's right.
Right.
I could take shits in alleys. People would say, you know what? I trust you because you've been working with these low-income kids.
Right.
Go do it.
Right. And you go back still, obviously, to continue.
No, now that I've succeeded, I don't help anybody.
That's what I was looking for.
I do none of that.
I like to jump around a bit.
Yes.
So let's go to
My bar mitzvah,
life.
93.
Was it 93?
I don't know.
How many applause breaks did you get during your speech?
A lot.
I got 7.
Did you?
Listen, it's not a competition.
But during your candle lighting ceremony or during your actual Haftorah portion?
The speech part of the actual
What
ceremony.
speech? It's not a wedding.
Back in the 50s, when you got bar mitzvahed, after you read your Haftorah, still standing at the altar.
At
as
the
it
bima.
were.
The
Yeah,
bema, please. Oh,
I
what a great
couldn't
Jew you
possibly
are.
remember. It's been 500 years, Sam.
You gave a speech.
Every
Oh,
bar
that's right. I
mitzvah,
remember that.
There's a little speech.
I want
You're basically
to
giving
thank
thanks.
I want to thank Yussel and Esther Greenblatt and the Klein Foundation.
Well, you're not going to get applause breaks
My
with
Bubby
that
and
material.
Zadie.
Well, no, I'm just kind of remembering.
You have to
it.
open with a
I
funny
hadn't
thing
come
happened.
into my own yet. I hadn't qualified myself for SNL and yet been disqualified for SNL.
At the age of 13.
Yes, at the age of 13.
See, I open up with the funny thing happened on the way to the temple. See?
You did a whole shtick.
I did.
That's good.
It was my first monologue.
I didn't have that kind of expertise yet in my craft.
But was it in your mind?
A funny thing happened on the way to the temple.
No, just in terms of maybe a life in show business.
Absolutely. I remember my very first. I remember knowing the exact moment that I said I want to do that, which was I was in the Catskill Mountains for my grandparents' anniversary.
Where Jews go to start.
Where Jews go to start. That's right. Jackie Mason. You know Jackie Mason, but you don't know Jackie Gleason.
Caddyshack 2.
Caddyshack 2.
Jackie Mason,
Jackie
Caddyshack 2.
Stop saying his name.
Written by Harold Davis, by the way.
So I went to the Catskills.
But you
and-
were doing Jackie Mason, you were 6, also according to the dossier.
That's right. That's a very good dossier.
It really is.
I just spoke to
Yeah, we don't fuck
my
around.
parents. So I went there, and I remember this guy was telling Borscht Belt jokes, and I was laughing harder than anybody. But I was 4 years old. I didn't fucking know what the hell he was saying. But I knew that thing that he was doing, that energy, that connection that he had with the audience, that was something that I desperately wanted.
So the calling came at age 4.
The calling came at age 4.
You win. What do we have for him? I've never heard it happening that young.
Do you remember what resort it was? Kutcher's, Concord?
I think it might have been Yasha Heifetz Inc. Up in Golem Heights.
Wow, that is very Jewish. I think that's...
It was something Yiddish and something.
That's the condos would overlook Mount Sinai.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
there's the statue of Moses with the commandments there. It's great.
We had 4,700 viewers when we started. We now have 7 because there weren't enough Jews.
There never are. There never are enough Jews.
Let's jump from there to post Book of Mormon. What the fuck do you do next?
Well,
At what point
yeah.
during the run does that even start to cross your mind? Because it's coming.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I had been working on Book of Mormon since 5 years before it ever premiered on Broadway. So I knew from the very first workshop that we did ever, we had one act, and it literally ended with me just singing, "Man up!" by myself. The very last note of it was just me going, "Man up!" And it was like a Trey Parker kind of thing. And I remember thinking to myself, this is fucking crazy, but it's a gem. There's something in here that is absolutely...
Was that at the Vineyard Theater?
It was at the Vineyard, yes.
Just checking.
I mean, there's nothing you don't know, so why even ask? So,
I'm just showing off now.
Yeah, at this point, you're
trying to make
Wikipedia.
our research producer, J Max, proud.
So we did it, and it started to occur to me that this was, as we started to preview the show, that it wasn't for the South Park audience, but it was for the audience at large. And at that point, I was like, oh shit, this is like a serious game changer.
Right.
And I'm still picking up the pieces of having to follow in its footsteps.
But that's just it. There's a wake that's created that is, I'm just going to say it, historic. It was Broadway history. For some reason, we had the PBS on, so we didn't forget to, I think, set the DVR to record the Downton.
Yes, that's why I have it on.
And there was a 16-hour retrospect of the history of Broadway, literally the
6
background,
episodes, but okay.
while
I've
we
seen
were
that, yeah,
getting ready. It's pretty amazing.
Amazing.
Oh, look, cats. What?
I like the voiceover at the end with Harvey Firestein.
That
I like to thank the supporters.
yeah. This episode was brought to you by... Why? Just get Froggy from our gang and put him out of work. But in terms of that whole ridiculous this moment was
Yeah.
a history in Broadway, this moment's a history in Broadway. And through doing the research, I started to think in terms of the post making history. When you're in it, you know, we can talk ad nauseum, and I hope to get a little bit of that. But, you know, I noticed from the dossier that you sort of set your sights on taking this opportunity by the neck as you move forward, and not being either freaked out about it or taking the first thing, but rather being patient and letting all the comers, it seems anyways, according to the research, make their pitch, make their way. Before we started, you and Sammy were having an NBC off, and I want to talk about 1600 Penn, which you co-created. But here's an opportunity that, in fact, we can just jump in there, because in the post Book of Mormon life,
Yeah.
it seemed to me, fill in the gaps, that you had all this stuff sort of laid out in front of you, and you had the wherewithal or the decision making to say, I
Yeah.
want to co-create, I want to be a little more hands-on, proactive.
That's exactly right. Book of Mormon was a chance to, you know, people to a certain extent had relished in typecasting me, and I had had a great little career building, whether it was movies like 21 or The Rocker or TV shows like Back to You. I was working steadily. But what Book of Mormon afforded me was the opportunity to choose my own adventure, to define myself as an artist. So, you know, instead of taking those big kind of broad things, my first job, literally while I was doing Book of Mormon, was to do an independent film directed by Stuart Bloomberg, who wrote Kids Are Right, co-wrote it, with Mark Ruffalo, Gwyneth Paltrow, Alicia Moore, and Tim Robbins, as this great ensemble that's more of a dramedy. My second job was to do a movie about Steve Jobs, where I play Steve Wozniak. So it was this incredible moment where I could now change the dialogue a little bit. And if I did want to do TV, there was this incredible opportunity to, instead of, you know, picking from this list of like things that don't really fit me, to form fit something for myself. So, you know, that's the, as you've experienced with your countless films that are now considered classics, you have to take that moment and run with it. And sometimes you make a fucking horrible choice, which I'm sure in the wake of some of my mistakes I'll figure out, but you at least have to be pickier and know that there are few of those moments in your life, and when you have one of those moments, you have to really dig in and ask yourself all the questions.
Well, the reason I actually wanted to go down this path is because there's so few people, quite honestly, that come along that have made a foothold and then are catapulted to this bizarre, rarefied air that can't last. And so what do you do with that ridiculous opportunity? And is the focus on just not fucking it up? Because you can Sandra Bernhard it and treat it like a porcelain egg after King of Comedy and say no to everything, and the next thing you know, where's Sandra
Everyone's saying no
Bernhard?
to you. Yeah. No, my philosophy was to take countless opportunities, and of those countless opportunities, some would be low profile mistakes, some would be high profile successes, but all of them would be things that I could look back at with no regret. I think that we live in an era where the very act of being employed is a celebration.
Absolutely.
And so I am not in a place or in any position to say, no, fuck you and whatever thing you're working on. It's always an honor to get offered something. It really is. But for me, it's just about redefining myself as an artist. You know, I trained for 4 years at drama school. I've had very little opportunity to use any of that any of that training in a significant way until recently. And that's not to disqualify the things that I've been a part of. It's just to say that, you know, they're jobs. And I want to start being afraid of those jobs that I take. I want to be terrified because that's the only way I'm going to grow, right?
Right.
And so that's what I try to do, generally. And most of the time I fuck it up.
Well, are we done with the coffee, by the way?
Yes.
All right. I don't want to remind anyone about this nonsense Mahalo company. That's a little stab.
Instead, please take a look at your new show.
So, yeah, I mean the dramatic opportunities are exciting when, in fact, everyone who's interested in you from movies or TV would like you to follow the lines of Jonah Hill and the like. There is a moment in one of the interviews you gave where you talked a little bit about if you saw Book of Mormon, if you got caught up in the excitement of it as a fan of either Trey and Matt or the theater, however you came at it, it became this bizarro uber hit. It was just ridiculous. When we saw it, Jamie and I, it was, I think, the first 3 months of the run. It was pretty new. I had to call. There was no way to get tickets, and I mean no way. I had to call. I refer to this guy as the guy Bruce Willis calls to have the Pope killed.
Has Bruce Willis been in shit with the Vatican that he needed that done? What happened?
I'm not allowed to say.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Let's
Hence
just
the
say
early retirement.
he's taking the easy way out.
Hence the early. He's taking the easy way out.
He knew Bruce was coming.
Yeah, he
for
got
him.
the
Well, what
call.
happens is
he got the call.
This guy that Bruce calls ahead.
Yeah.
And says, "You want to walk, or do you want to sleep?"
Does he do it in Latin or English?
Well, these are modern times. First of all.
Yes.
Yeah. Dead language.
Yeah. Or you can just Google it and have the translation do the work for
Maybe
you.
like in letter form it comes in Latin.
Aramaic for some reason.
Nice. Why you got to go there? So, you know, the bizarro thing I was getting at was, if you're aware of that world, then you and your co-star were giants. You were captains of theater history. If you were not, you know, you guys, 1,100 people a night,
That's
superstars.
what I always joke about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go outside of that, right, where TV and film are not the delivery system, you know, when you walk among us, as it were, and people recognize you from the rocker or whatever, it doesn't have that, obviously, that same sort of weight and superstar stature. So I have to, while assuming, if you're not already a normally humble person, you'll be reminded every now and then that there's somebody out there, and it's true of almost anyone who thinks they're famous, that there's people out there who don't know you from Adam.
That's right.
And I enjoy, to this day, one of my favorite thing is, what's that thing I saw you in?
It's
Oh my God, it's fantastic. I can never get enough of that.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, I'm sorry. I hate that. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
I like when they get mad. When
No, they
everybody
get
goes,
angry. You get accosted at a movie theater, and they're like, "Come on, man!
Jamie
Like
got-
I'm on a fucking timetable here.
I got
What do I know you from?" But can you imagine if you went to like realtors and did that? If you were like, "What house did you sell?" Come on, buddy. What fucking house did you sell?
Jamie got yelled at an airport.
Yeah, it's.
I went into the restroom, somebody waited, and then came up to her and said, "What's the movie I saw?" Your husband, your boyfriend, your father, whoever that is. and she had, who had been with me so many times, said, "Well, there's no correct answer here." And so would you start to name a couple? Is that what happened? And he just,
No, I didn't name any. And then he was like, just tell me. And then I said, a few good men. And then he's like, thank you.
because apparently he wanted
He
it
was
to
having
happen
a
before
stroke
I came
as
back
he
out.
was having a stroke apparently
See, I
as he
do
was
tell the
accosting
worst.
her.
I tell the worst stories.
No, it's a great story. I feel bad for the guy though because I think he's struggling.
Do you guys know Emmett Walsh? Emmett Walsh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Great character.
I worked with him once for a
He
day.
passed away, right?
No, he's alive.
Oh, Jeff Garland.
He's alive.
don't think Jeff.
Nice save.
13 years ago, we worked together.
Right.
And of course I know who he is, and I will go to ask him about a specific project. And then
Blood Simple?
he pulls, no, I was asking about Raising Arizona, and he pulls a folded up piece of paper that he had many of out of his back pocket. He says, here, I have a gift for you, but you can't open it in front of me. You got to wait till I'm gone. I was like, okay. And he hands it to me, and he says, all right, have fun with that. I'm going to walk over here. And then I open it up, and it is a condensed version, and I mean condensed because it has everything, but the print is so tiny. It's everything he's ever been in on his resume. And at the top of it, it says, these are some of the things you know me from. Let's not talk about it.
Wow.
Brilliant.
That's pretty fantastic. Yeah. Well, I mean, listen. Not only allowed me to title my book "How I Slept My Way to the Middle," but at some point you got to have some fun with it.
Yeah.
So you had some fun with it somewhere,
Yes,
where someone was.
I was up in Big Bear. I was at this diner, this like podunk diner, and this server comes up to me and she goes, the infamous words, "Where do I know you from? I know you." And I said, "Well, I don't know. You tell me." And she goes, "Now, come on, don't play that. Come on, it's the timetable."
Stop being an
she's
asshole.
She's on the timetable. I've got to give my resume if I want this food in my job. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe Animal House. Thinking like she'll laugh, she'll fucking walk away, it'll be over. She looks at me and she goes, "That's it. That's it. That's where I know you." Shirley! Calls over to her friend. "Shirley, this guy was in Animal House. What's your name again?" And I said it with a question. "John Belushi?" "John Belushi!" I could not believe what was happening. Not only did I not die, but I somehow got younger. It happens.
Right.
It's the Benjamin Button syndrome of actors. So
Sure.
yes, apparently John Belushi is alive and well,
Right.
and frequenting diners in Big Bear.
And so the flip side of that is, let's talk about the endless comparisons, right? The John Candy, the Chris Farley.
It's the weight class, the weight class, right? The Jonah Hill, the Rogan, the Jack Black, you name it. You know, there's it's funny because reviewers in particular love to pinhole.
Oh, God.
They love that. They love it's like, oh, well. The funniest part was that I shot 21 before Superbad came out, but it came out after Superbad.
Uh-huh.
And somehow there was this criticism that I was trying to be Jonah Hill, or poor man's Jonah Hill. And
I love that one. The poor man's blank film.
Yeah, and I like to think of myself as the rich man's Louis Anderson. So I was, so I was like, you know, it's coincidentally, I really love this kid Jonah Hill, but I had never seen his work prior to doing this movie, so there's really no point of comparison for me to be copying. And there is this idea, it's this easy sort of, well, these two guys kind of look like they have...
They're similar physical types.
Similar physical types, so I'm just going to, put them in the same pot. And
Instead of just acknowledging that you've been stealing from Jackie Gleason the whole time.
That's exactly, you finally know who I'm talking about. The toy.
It clicked.
The toy.
Well, I don't know why you have to destroy the man's reputation and career with that piece of shit. But
so it's it's an unfortunate reference, and at the same time, if people think that they're criticizing me by comparing me to Chris Farley, they're not. I celebrate that. I celebrate the comparison to my colleagues. I think that
if somebody was funny and great, John Candy, hello.
John Candy is one of my favorites.
Kidding?
John Belushi is one of my favorites.
Right.
Fatty Arbuckle, but
it's interesting you mentioned Fatty Arbuckle because one of the more surprising aspects of the dossier is your other obsession, which is Charlie Chaplin.
Obsessed.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
That's something I don't often hear from someone of your age.
I don't know exactly when it started, but it was mid to late high school, and I watched The Kid.
Just on a whim?
On a whim. It was on TV, and I watched it, and I generally had, at that point, an aversion to silent films.
Lost on your generation, I would
Lost
think.
on my generation.
Sure. Lost
They're
on mine.
old, they're dusty,
Yeah.
they don't talk. It's all that stuff, right? I'm sitting there, and I look at it, and I'm like, what's happening right now? Why am I laughing as much as I'm laughing? And inevitably, by the end of it, I asked, why am I crying as much as I'm crying? And it was in that moment that I understood for the very first time in my life pathos. And I understood the possibility of the universal appeal of comedy. That comedy could exist for people outside of a demographic that understand the vernacular that you're speaking in, right? So that if you have a movie where it's just about how many times you can say fuck or how many times you can whatever, you can broaden that appeal to literally people in the middle of the desert or people in the middle of an urban jungle, and you can appeal to the masses. And I think that I understood in that moment that that's the promise of what we do, right?
And so much of it obviously is physical comedy, and that was
So much is physical.
had to have been the thing that
Well, yeah, I mean, it was.
grabbed you.
It was one of those things, and then I went on a tear. Then I watched Modern Times. Then I watched, you know, I mean, The Great Dictator is one of those perfect examples of. You have this incredible moment of comic utopia, right, where he does his whole ballet with the globe, and then you have this ending that is such a stark contrast. And it's basically, it predates the beginning of the Second World War and what we would come to later know as the Holocaust. And he gives a warning to the world about the dangers of fascism and fanaticism. And that, the promise of that as art is, I think, what I strive for, and was the great appeal to me of at the time turning down everything that was offered to me to do this little show on Broadway that I thought had this incredible message that I didn't care if nobody saw. I had to be a part of it. And it's those moments in your life that you're praying for, that what is that thing that has a message that will get across enough eyeballs to make a difference, to leave an impression, to get a conversation started one way or another. Because so much of what we do is for pure entertainment, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I go to the theater every week to go see pure entertainment, and I love it. But man, is it great to be a part of pure entertainment and thought-provoking entertainment.
I think the Book of Mormon is probably still sold out, regardless, at this point, of who's in it. You mentioned that you were a part of it in the very beginning, when it was just a workshop piece. But you just touched on something which is, there's no money in theater even when it's a known show, let alone something that's been workshopped by people who've never done theater before. And then your experience, of course, you've talked about of reading the book or a portion of it the first time and some of the songs and thought, you can't actually do this, right?
Mm-hmm. I called him my agent. I was like, I can't do this. I'll get shot.
Yeah. I mean, there must have been concern at some point that it was
There was concern throughout. I mean, it was the middle of the process. In the middle of the process, Trey and Matt had a fatwa put on their heads, literally.
Because it got out there what they...
No, because of something they did in South Park with the
Oh,
Prophet.
right.
And so, you know, it's a dangerous...
That's helpful, by the way,
yeah.
when you're launching a show.
And it's a dangerous, you walk into that knowing that what you're doing is provocative. The second it becomes dangerously provocative, especially when you have a kid like I had just had, it gets you thinking.
But you also know, part of you, that it's one of the most uplifting...
I said that from the beginning. But I remember Michael Riedel, who has since become an avid fan of the show, wrote an early article after seeing a workshop that we did. We did 20 minutes for a group of press people, and he was one of them, and he wrote this thing saying that there are going to be picket lines, there are going to be, people are going to storm out of the theater, people are going to leave in droves. And I really bought into that. I really believed in my heart.
Why wouldn't you?
Oh shit, what are we doing here? And I remember being very scared leading up to the first previews, and it never happened. In fact, throughout the entirety of my time with Book of Mormon, I maybe saw a dozen people walk out throughout my entirety. That's 400 plus shows.
What about the one couple who the guy throws the jacket down and
Stormed. They stormed out with 2 minutes left to the show, so they stayed the entire time, and then with 2 minutes left before the finale, gets up, takes his wife, and in a show of rage, takes his playbill, throws it at the garbage, it bounces back at him, he storms out. And I remember thinking to myself,
you're still on stage finishing
I'm
the
still on
show
stage
and you're seeing
watching
this happening.
I'm seeing it happen. I'm like, this is why we do what we do. This is why we do what we do. And it was those moments that.
What do you think the conversation at intermission was like? Should we go?
No, I want to stay, and then I want to make a public display of
But
my
we're both
anger.
disgusted by what we're
Well,
seeing.
I think that people. One, I think you're pot committed at that time. You can't get your money back, and you have already paid $500. I think to a certain extent, you know that the critics that New York is buzzing about this, and we started to get we actually started to get the reverse of what you would think would happen is all this incredible buzz happens, all these incredible reviews, and then people start to get aggressively judgmental. Well, let's see this new crowned king. Let me be the judge. And so they came in with a sense
Waiting to hate it.
waiting to hate it, and I think that, it was one of those things where you're just like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I do. I hope you come along for the ride, and for the most part, we did change those minds.
Well, I would tell people, because there's nothing worse than being told, this movie's great, it's the greatest movie, you have to see it, you have to see it. You will always be disappointed, I don't care what it is. If you tell me Argo's the best movie of the year and I've got to see it, it's great, I'm not going to like it. If I know nothing about it and I go in and see it, I might in fact
That happened
enjoy
with
it.
Cloud Atlas. Everybody was actually either underplaying it so much or overplaying it so much. And I went in, and the expectation was the opposite. It was so low at that point because people. I was like, "This is one of the fucking coolest movies I've ever seen in my life."
Right.
It was incredible.
But if someone had told you that, you're screwed. So
Yes.
but the thing about Book of Mormon was you couldn't overhype it. You couldn't oversell it. And that's how I would actually explain to people the experience. There's nothing I could say that would cause a disappointment for you. There's no
Yeah.
way I'm going to ruin this by telling you you will not believe what's happening in front of you and how good it makes you feel.
Yeah.
And how much funny and how the 80-year-old next to you was also shitting his pants from laughter.
And it's a testament to the brilliance of I think two of the greatest satirists who will be studied in, colleges for years to come.
Till the end of time.
Till the
The
end
fact
of
that
time.
their show is hipper now than in its first
That's
year
right.
and last
Trey and
year.
Matt and the entire team. I mean, you go down the list. Bobby Lopez, who had written Avenue Q, who teamed up with them, is just one of the great geniuses. Scott Rudin, who produced the show, along with Ann Garofino. These guys are absolute legends, and I think that it shows in the work.
Mm. How do you get a Sam Levine who refuses to go to the theater, who can't stand the idea of sitting through a musical because people are breaking out in song in the middle of conversations? How do you get a Sam Levine to then go to the show?
You have to literally create a package just for Sam.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to essentially, if I were trying to get Sam to come, I would sing a song to Sam.
Mm-hmm.
It would probably go something like this. Sam, there's nothing to be afraid of but your own disgusting bullshit. You have nothing to fear because everything's gonna be fine. My show will do no harm. Something like that. Something like that.
That was amazing. I'm still not going.
Fair enough.
I also love that because he signed a release, we now own that song.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's
true.
fantastic.
That's, you know what, that's a
I
gift to
really
us.
wish I could have read that release.
That's a
I was
gift.
told that I didn't need to.
That was a gift to us, so I say thank
Mazel
you.
tov on everything.
I don't want to leave your fans out of it. We've got a Tweet 5 loaded up for you. You've seen this show. You know what this means. This one comes from Martha Stroud.
T5.
There's your Keckner bringing it home.
I love the Davy.
Thank you, Keki. Martha, we miss Martha. Aw. Okay.
Yes.
Are you ready for your tweet, Father?
Martha, give it to me.
Okay, here we go. Team America or South Park?
Oh, come on.
That's
my answer.
I'm afraid that's not an answer.
I would have to say, is it South Park the movie or Team America the movie?
Why do you got to complicate it?
Well, why are you being a dick?
It's Team America, the TV show, and South Park, the movie.
Well, in this case,
Knowing Martha, if she meant the movie, she would have put in the full title.
Without question.
yeah.
So it's the TV
all right.
show.
If I have to decide between the two of them, I will say that Team America for me stands as one of the greatest film experiences of all time, and just by an edge beats out South Park the film.
Not in fact true.
I was thinking AIDS this morning.
It's incredible.
We were singing AIDS
The
this morning.
vomit scene alone is one of the greatest comedic, masterful things that's ever been done. The opening with the marionettes doing the marionettes. Come on. That's fucking brilliance.
AIDS.
AIDS.
Everyone has AIDS.
Yeah.
I'm Ronry.
Eric Ballry. Eat liver, eat insects.
Eat insects.
In and out or Shake Shack.
In and out.
Rory as Angel Maroney. Rory as Elder McKinley.
Oh.
See?
Ro-
See? Thought you
Rory as McKinley.
also incorrect. Weird.
I really don't know where you're getting these answers from. It's just strange.
Because it's opinion.
I thought it was, but apparently I'm wrong.
And the last one, I feel like you're going to get wrong also.
Okay, tell me.
Just to give you a little, Buster Keaton or Charlie Chaplin?
Well, I guess they can go fuck themselves if they think I'm going to say Buster Keaton.
He did have a house fall on him.
Although I will say Buster Keaton The General is truly one of the most masterful things ever. Have you seen The General?
It's extraordinary.
That train sequence, you can't do that. To be a stuntman / comedian / have that sort of subtle genius is, I don't know, it's masterful.
Yeah. You did so well on that one. We're going to serve up another one right away. You feel it? Yes. This is from at.
T5 forever now. Yes.
I love that fabulous puss of his. At Mr. JT, musicals or movies?
Ooh, what about movie musicals?
Correct, continue. Schmidt or Nick?
Schmidt.
Jon Stewart, John Oliver?
John Stewart. He employed me. John Oliver never gave me a check.
Yeah.
I love John.
He's so good. South Park or Simpsons?
I gotta say South Park because once again I was employed by the creators of South Park.
East Coast or West Coast?
I'm an East Coast boy, but I love the West Coast.
Also correct.
Good.
Yeah.
Wait, how are you an East Coast boy?
I was born in Florida. I've lived more often than not in New York,
Oh, really?
and I went to school in Pittsburgh. Really? How am I a West Coast boy?
Well.
Now shut up and let me continue, Sam. You've been ungrateful, and I don't appreciate the fact that you don't support musicals. No, fuck you.
No.
If my song can't change you, nothing can.
No, that was wonderful, and I don't want to downplay how wonderful it made me feel inside.
Okay.
But surely there must be some valid art form that you don't enjoy. Surely. I'm not saying it's not a perfectly amazing art form that I understand people love and enjoy and it's valid and everything. I'm not into it.
But when
How is
someone
that
tells
not
you
allowed?
it's the funniest thing they've
So
ever
you never
seen.
saw Mormon?
No.
You're a real dick.
Here's the thing. I was never in New York when you were in it. And after
Well, that's fair. That's
after
fair.
you were gone, everyone said, Gad's not in it anymore.
No,
I don't know if
nobody
you want to
said
spend
that,
the
but
money.
I appreciate the lie.
I swear to God, that's real.
I wanna meet
People
your- I
said
wanna meet
Gad's
your
gone,
people.
so I don't know if you want to spend the money now.
I want to meet your people.
Wait till it comes to
How
LA.
long did you do the show?
Year and a half.
Year and a half, Sam.
Year and a half, Sam.
I wasn't there.
Do no harm with shooting a year and a half, Sam.
A year and a half
Okay,
ago?
I'll be more to the point. I'll be more to the point. Yes, I was there when Book of Mormon was going on, but to get tickets was over $1,000.
Well, that's true. Fair enough.
And I'm already a hard sell.
And if you were offered free tickets,
Who gets offered free tickets to the Book of Mormon?
answer the question, please.
If I were offered free tickets, I would have gone.
You swear on it?
Yes, I do.
Pinky swear?
Yeah, I didn't see spam a lot until I was offered free tickets.
What were you, okay, what if you were offered tickets at face value? Which would have been $137.
Ooh, each?
Yes.
Can't
This is
do
a
it.
great
You're
story.
a real prick.
I'm not trying to be an
No,
ass.
I'm sorry. The $12 for your next movie is going to be too rich for my fucking blood.
Go ahead. Like that's gonna make or break the movie. But no,
I get
it's
it.
an
I get it.
unpopular
Now,
stance. I realize it's unpopular.
Some people really, truly, truly do not like musicals. I will say this for the Book of Mormon: everybody who saw the Book of Mormon that I knew who didn't like musicals, said the very same thing, which is, "I hate musicals.
Yeah.
This was something I never imagined it could be."
Yeah.
I will say this, and this is true. When people ask me about musicals, that is the only one that I would be willing to see currently.
Right.
Listen to the soundtrack. Up my royalty pool.
All right, that I can do.
All right, great.
Still rumors about a movie?
Yes.
Can you say anything?
Well, I can say as much as the public knows, which is that Trey and Matt have just started their own studio with, I think, the idea being that one of their first efforts, if not their first effort, will be a movie. I have no idea if
When,
I'll be
how,
a
where?
part of it, if what it'll be. I do think that knowing Trey and Matt, it'll be its own unique thing, and it'll be as good and as different as everybody could hope for. And I'm excited as a paying customer or as an employee to be a part of it.
Do you wish during rehearsals, when you kept getting their names wrong as to which was Matt and which was Trey, that you were doing it on purpose instead of just being an idiot?
I do.
You almost got fired, apparently.
But yes, the funniest part was that I kept saying it. I kept being like, "Hey, Trey," and Matt would say, "No, he's Trey," and I'd be like, "You funny motherfucker!" Like I would just laugh about it, and so I kept pushing it. Like I kept being like thinking that I was in.
That's
on the
endearing.
joke.
It's so endearing.
It was a disaster, and I almost got fired.
But I read you almost got fired, and I thought, but not really. Really? You almost got fired?
No, there was a period in between. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Sprite.
Yep.
Sprite Zero. There was a period in between the workshops where I guess they were playing around with the idea of changing things up because I literally was the only person who ever played Cunningham. I think they wanted to just see if anybody else. About 3 days after they sort of let me go, they called me back up and they're like, we know that we told you that we couldn't have you do it, but can you do it? So it was from that point on we were just kind of linked together.
I didn't realize there was a moment where.
There was a moment. I don't usually talk about it because it was a dark time, those 3 days. But it was
How long had you been working on it prior to those 3 days?
2 years. 2 years.
The reasons given were
The reasons given were valid reasons, which is we
can't sing or dance.
You didn't get into Carnegie Mellon. Why are you good enough to be on Broadway?
Those
I
are
said call Lauren Michaels. He'll tell you why.
valid questions. Call Sam Levine.
Call Sam Levine.
When you
He'll
can't
tell
get
you why.
Lauren.
You know
Yeah.
what? Hang on. Lest you think for a split second I'm not a tremendous fan, I watched and loved every episode of Back to You.
Is that true?
That is very true.
I didn't even watch every episode of Back to You.
So
That's really impressive.
That was a great show, and you
It
were
was a
very
great
funny on
show.
it.
Hey, thank you. Sam, every episode of Freaks and Geeks.
You're sweet, man.
Still on my Netflix queue.
You're
It's
gonna
not
get
that I
there at
haven't
some
seen
point.
it, it's that I'm going to watch it. It's the intention is there.
I appreciate it,
I love you.
but I love you too.
it's
buddy.
7/5 of the law.
Come on.
Intention.
That's right.
Once the Jews turn on each other, then what have we got, fellas? Then what have we got?
I like the.
This dossier, it's long, it's detailed.
I like the. Yes, it is. Sitting at the Tony nominees luncheon. Just give me a little. So the play's a hit. You can't get a ticket. Everything's just sailing down the tracks. It's all the work going into it. The 3 dark days. You're finally coming out the other end. Everything's nominated. You're sitting at the nominees luncheon, and are you just focused on being present? Because that's a heady fucking room.
I was really disappointed in the food. That's all I remember.
Best possible answer.
No, you know what? It was.
Because you were expecting edible.
Yes. I gotta tell you, it was one of those surreal experiences where so many of the people in that room were idols of mine.
Like?
I mean, well, everybody in my category. I've been a huge fan of Norbert Leo Butz, who wound up winning, since I saw him early on. I saw him in Wicked the first time, and I was like, this guy is incredible. To David Lindsay of Bear, I can't even remember like everybody in that room at that time, but it was an incredible experience. And also being there with my co-stars, being there with Rory, Andrew, and Nikki was the greatest gift ever.
And so what are you and Andrew saying to each other about what you're going to do if one of you wins and one of you doesn't? Because it's an ensemble and it's a huge giant production, but at the end of the day, your two characters, we fall in love with you, we go on the ride, or we don't.
Well, I think there's poetic justice to the fact that we both lost, because in a way we both won.
And then you have you cancel each other out.
Yeah, you get you cancel each other out conversation. You know what?
But did you talk about what would happen if one of you won?
We did. There was a moment where the two of us really truly believed neither of us were going to win. At least that's my perception of it. Maybe he was bluffing the entire time, but I certainly didn't think I was going to win. And so there was a day where it got closer to the moment where I think in passing we both said, I really do hope that if it's not me, it's you. And we both believed that. We both truly felt that way. And I think we both breathed a sigh of relief when it was neither of us, because you don't want, in that proximity, when the person
you're still in the middle of the run.
When the person at the other end of the hallway in your dressing rooms is literally as close as blood to you. I spent more time with him than I did with family at that point. You don't want any sort of competitive, awkward vibe. You just don't. It's not good for the company. It's not, and I don't think it ever would have gotten there. But I certainly think that it's part of human nature to be jealous, or it's part of human nature to feel like loss or whatever. And
did you in fact share with him when some asshole journalist pointed out to you that you were more of an odds-on favorite to win based on Vegas odds?
There was a New York Times thing that said that, and I remember it being on his desk, and I think that's what struck up that conversation. But it was all bullshit. I mean, the fact of the matter is that
it'd be good for a laugh.
It would be good for a laugh, but when you're in the grind like that, that year, what's his name won for Jerusalem?
Abe Lincoln.
Abe Lincoln won for Jerusalem. Thank you.
Oh
my God, Mark Rylance, who's one of the greatest working actors alive right now. And I was at all of those award ceremonies that he kept winning at. He just swept everything. And he truly embodied the essence of what theater is, in that each time he accepted one of these awards, it was with the humble assessment and the honest assessment that he did not exist, and his character did not exist, and his performance did not exist, if not for the work of the ensemble. And I truly believe that about Book of Mormon. I am literally held up by Andrew, by Rory, by Nikki, by Michael Potts, by the entire ensemble itself.
And yet you didn't mention all of them just now, by name.
No, I didn't.
You could have.
I didn't think we had the time.
You clearly know all their names.
Your producer literally told me beforehand, don't mention any of them.
But I like that you chose not.
Actually, I will mention one of them.
Okay.
Ben Schrader, who is a huge fan of yours, and I believe is listening right now.
He and I were, I believe, DMing, direct messaging each other on Twitter while he was backstage before the show.
He was freaking out. It was like, we had certain celebrities come that caused a true stir backstage. You were one of them.
So, thank you.
You, Oprah, Hillary Clinton.
Thank you. What do you do when you look out in the audience and Bono is sitting there?
Especially because I make a Bono reference in the show. It is, the craziest ones to me were Oprah, because of all the African, she has a huge foothold in terms of helping.
She got a
people in
president
Africa.
elected, sir. We needn't look
Yes.
any further. Something the mafia could never do.
Exactly. And I really
Other than
was.
Kennedy, when you think about it.
I was nervous about her. I was nervous about her reaction. She came backstage and was just so effusive and so supportive.
But when you see her sitting there,
But when you
are you
s-
told ahead of time? Oprah's here, Oprah's here.
There was a list of the people backstage.
It got to a point where it's ridiculous.
There
And
was a
not every-
night. You want to hear the
Yes,
greatest
please,
night ever?
please.
Leonardo DiCaprio,
Sure,
Tobey Maguire,
I'll say.
Gerard Butler,
Mm.
Kate Hudson. I believe that was the night George Lucas was there.
Because it's the holidays? I mean, how did they get together and...
It was right around the time we were starting, and every night was
Ridiculous.
Literally
Right.
the Shrine Auditorium. It was crazy. It got to a point where it was laughable.
Not to take anything away from your brilliance or the show's brilliance, but if you want celebrities present, tell them that no one else can get a ticket.
That's right. That's right.
They will kill.
They will kill.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
right.
surprised Lucas didn't come on stage and like rip off your Star Wars backpack and be like, I did not license this. did
I
not
was
license
surprised
this."
that we had Disney. I mean, like, I believe the CEO of Disney came, and I was like, oh, we're fucked because we do Lion King references and
And Orlando, the whole.
Orlando and that whole riff. And
But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the guy that wrote the music also wrote the Finding Nemo musical.
he did.
Yeah.
He wrote that, and he wrote Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
So he has in fact, we're working on a movie together right now for Disney, where I play a voice in a new Disney animated movie with songs written by him called Frozen.
Oh, man, that's exciting as hell.
It's great. I get to sing. Again, thank you, Carnegie Mellon, for not trusting me when I told you so.
Well, there's nothing better than that.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best.
You're co-writing that with him?
No, I'm in it. I play essentially the comic relief in this movie.
Do you want me to call?
Do you want to call him?
Just to see if you can get a little more involved in the creative process?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we'll wait till after the show.
Yeah, we'll wait till after this.
Okay, so when everyone from show business heaven
Yes.
is in the audience, when
Yes.
that first starts, because first it's, wow, I think this is really something. Wow, it looks like we're pre-selling. I mean, that build to opening night, and then a couple weeks in, I mean, how soon is it just, oh, well, okay, it's instantly ridiculous? Previews?
Second week of previews, what happened was I started seeing, there was a lottery outside the theater. And a normal lottery is, on average, about 50 people maybe.
Trying to get tickets sold out, can't get in.
Exactly. For a good show, for a successful show. The high end of that is maybe 150 standing outside. You got your Wickeds and Lion Kings. We started at about the median the first day. Then it doubled the second day. By the end of that first week, we had no less than 500 people waiting for tickets.
For a lottery, where they'll give out maybe 4.
That's where they give out like 10. It never went down from that point on. I kept thinking to myself, this can't sustain itself. It only went up from there. It was crazy.
Literally ridiculous.
It was literally ridiculous.
So you look out and you see Bono, and when you
Bono.
are there moments where you make eye contact
Oh yeah.
with
I have to call.
Mount Rushmores and they
I had to-
smile at you?
Yeah,
or-
I had to. Well, the worst is when they don't smile at you. When they just in the show I call Nabalungi John Bon Jovi numerous times, and of course John Bon Jovi came to see the show, and of course he gave me this look of like, go fuck yourself. Like I think he thought that I was switching shit up because he was in the audience,
Oh.
as opposed to like bringing attention
Oh,
to his
boy.
celebrity, and
That's not
it
egotistical
was
at
not.
all.
It was not a pleasant moment. But then you have, I think he loved it. But there was one of the most random things ever. Is I always change her name up, and on one night I called her Nakatomi Plaza, just randomly, and of course Alan Rickman was in the audience, which I didn't know. So you have these like. It was just surreal. It was really surreal. I remember Bruce Springsteen came backstage once and he goes, man, you have one of the craziest voices I've ever heard. It's really rad. I'm thinking to myself, Bruce Springsteen fucking telling me about my voice? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Pretty remarkable. pretty remarkable.
Yeah. And there's no way where there's even a moment of, oh, yeah, Brad Pitt's there too.
No.
Does it ever
No.
get even close
No,
to...
I was
Because we're talking about a year and a half.
at the very end, I was still pinching myself. It really is.
Because I have a quote.
Well, I was pinching myself about.
Just John Stamos? You said backstage.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
I don't quite remember that.
No?
I think your dossier is getting a little suspect now.
Okay. Let's go to the questions on the line. It's time for the game that swept the nation over and over for many years. He's dying to play. There's money at stake. It's time for...
Who wins?
Who tweeted?
Celebrities have so much to say.
Who tweeted?
Is the game we're gonna play.
No. Half Obama. He's going half Obama.
Sammy,
Hey,
welcome back.
Hey,
It's so nice to
thank
have
you,
you.
So
buddy.
handsome in person.
No, you stop.
I'm sorry about what I said before.
No, you shouldn't be because.
Okay, then I'm not.
No,
It's mostly true.
You're
Yeah.
correct. I am aware that I appear, closed-minded or what have you to that, but I know you. There are musical forms you don't care for.
Oh, I only brought it up because I knew you'd squirm like you're doing right now.
Oh no, this isn't squirming.
What do you got there,
I stick
Sammy?
to my beliefs. Okay, so this
Is that the clipboard that Prince sent you?
This is the clipboard that Prince sent me.
No.
It came direct from Minnesota. Good lumber. Okay, here we go. Who tweeted?
Yeah, what are my options again?
I'm going to tell you again. Okay, so I will read a series of 8 tweets one at a time.
I'm just scared. Okay.
No, you're going to be fine.
Okay,
You're going to
go
be
on.
fine, Josh. One at a time. And so when I get to a point where you feel like you know who authored that tweet, you buzz in by saying your name. So for you,
Are
that'd
you
be
writing your
Josh,
name
you, that'd
down?
be Kevin.
Okay.
And then I
gonna
will
keep
point to
score,
you. You'll
sir.
have 3 seconds
heavy
to
duty.
say either Tyra, Paris, or Bieber.
Okay, great.
Those names
right.
again?
Tyra,
Paris,
Bieber.
as in Justin.
As in Justin.
Great.
And Kevin did say there is a cash prize at stake. That's right. It's just 20
I need lunch money.
U.S. dollars.
Sammy,
Yeah, buddy.
I'm excited.
You
We've
should
not
be.
played this.
We haven't played this
such a
in
long,
too
long
long.
time.
Way too long.
And I don't think I've won in a
No,
very long
you
time.
stink at this
It's
game
gotten a
all of
little
sudden.
embarrassing.
Uh-oh.
So I've
So
actually
he's got the heat is on.
kind of
Becoming predatory.
I found myself feeling too competitive and pretending that I cared about the questions I was asking.
Sure. I understand.
Did it come across?
Only because I know you.
No. I just need the. Yeah, that's
A little bit.
That says it all, Sam. All right.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Tweet number 1. Your life is an occasion. Rise to it.
Justin Bieber.
Okay, first of all, that's not how you ring it.
Unless
Josh.
your name is Justin Bieber.
My name is Justin Bieber. Josh. Do I have to pound the table and
You don't
say
have
my
to pound
name?
the table.
Okay.
That was just me.
Josh.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber.
I'm sorry, no.
It's only fun because it's incorrect.
Damn it.
I forgot to go over the points.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, you ring in, you get it wrong, you lose 3 points.
Well, this is bullshit. Now you just got me. I mean,
You
come
ring
on.
in, you get it right, you win yourself 5.
All right.
So it's all right. You're in
Great,
the hole. You're
great,
in the hole now.
great.
You're in the hole.
Yeah, I can
It
take the
was-
next one off. Just see if you can climb out.
It was.
Go ahead, tell us the answer.
It was Paris. All right.
The other thing you should know, but since you'd seen the show before, I didn't mention it, but I like the guests to know that Jamie, who puts the questions together, does try to make it not obvious.
And I
as to
certainly
who wrote
don't
the
read them in
tweet.
any way that would help you.
He tries to read them
Thanks,
all
guys.
overly.
It's good to get all of this after I've already lost 3 points.
It's all right. It's a
keep
3
telling me
point
rules
gap
as
is
we go.
nothing
Go,
in this
keep
game.
going.
There's 7 more
typically,
rules, but I'm going to hold.
Typically, the
because there's
game
only-
ends with a difference in points of at least 20 or 30. Okay, tweet number 2.
Number 2,
If you want to succeed, you gotta put in the work.
Kevin Tyra.
It's a tie game.
Yes!
-3.
Yes! I'm so good at this.
The beams.
One correct answer, that's all we need.
Scary.
One correct answer, Kenny. Just one today.
Number.
I feel it.
3. You should know that you were beautiful. Happy Valentine's Day.
Josh Bieber.
That is correct.
Son of a bitch!
Yeah. Nice job. Back on the plus side.
Yes.
Tweet. Number 4.
I got you where I want you now,
I just
kid.
got a Follow that motherfucker. Look from our guest. That's exciting as hell.
Tweet number 4.
Yeah.
Super Bowl is over. Now it's time to have a super week. You ready? Let's do this!
God, that is so fucking awful as tweets go. Kevin Tyra.
We have a tie game again!
Yeah!
Ooh.
All right, settle down. Settle down.
Ooh, yeah.
That's very good.
I answered
Exciting now.
Tyra, for the record, I answered Tyra twice, and I was right 50%.
50% of the time. That's true. Tweet number 5.
We're starting from scratch.
Getting hot in here, yeah.
It's like a 4-tweet game now.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Tweet number 5. It's getting exciting. Everyone outside, be safe. Enjoy the pizza.
Josh. Paris Hilton.
From New York, apparently. Everyone outside be safe. That's got to be from New York during Sandy or the recent historical snowstorm.
You're both wrong. I'm sorry. It was Justin Bieber. I'm sure it was not about that. I'm sure.
Oh, man.
Okay, it's a 3-point difference. That's all.
3-point difference.
3-point
I can do this.
Tweet number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Time to play after a trillion biz meetings. Clive Davis Grammy party in 90210.
Kevin Paris.
This is a tie game again! Oh!
Really? Who was that?
That was Tyra Banks.
That was?
Tyra Banks.
See, they're not easy.
That
These are
bitch
not
is
easy.
unpredictable.
Whoa, both in the negative. Man, you guys are really...
This is really
Again,
nerve-wracking.
it's a 2-tweet game.
It's a two-tweet
It's a
game.
two-tweet game.
Excited.
Tweet number 7.
I'll help, Ken.
Today is a gift. That's why it's called the present.
Oh my God.
Josh.
Mandela?
Josh, Nelson Mandela. I'm going to go with Paris.
Taking a commanding lead going into the final question, Josh Gad, that is correct.
Wow.
Ooh.
I would have never guessed. Read that tweet again.
Today is a gift. That's why it's called the present.
So I can only
what you
tie
did
with a
there?
positive correct answer.
That's correct, sir.
You can only lose.
He can't lose. He can only tie.
He can only tie as well.
So basically,
He
it all
shouldn't
comes
answer.
down to
He
this.
should just let me lose,
well,
technically, because if he tries,
I mean,
we try to give an advantage. at this point.
I'm getting that, and I'm
you
loving
can.
it.
There's no
But what
way the
if
game
but
can
what
end
if I
there.
like you so much that I toss the game?
Throw
that
it?
I throw it,
Well, then we'd wind up in a tie scenario.
Yeah.
and we just rip.
Actually, that's
220 in
not
half,
true
or
at
do
all.
we try to get two
That's
dollars?
that's not true. No, if you ring in and get it wrong, you win.
Okay. So I really have nothing to lose.
You have nothing to lose.
What do you mean?
He'd be +1 if
Fuck.
he rings in and loses. You're already -1. You have to
That's
ring
really
in.
on me.
You have to.
I have to
Don't
ring
even
in.
let me get
All
one
right,
word
I'm
into
gonna
it.
try
Really.
to help you.
If you want to help,
Just
me,
go
I'm gonna
for
try
it.
to Stay the fuck out of this.
Just go for
fine,
it.
Fair enough.
The 8th and potentially final tweet. No friendship is an accident.
That can't be it. That can't be all of it.
I'm afraid that's all
Read the
there
rest
is.
of it.
No friendship is an accident.
The sad part is
Period.
I know this.
Want to write it down and slip it to me?
I would if I had paper.
No, what?
No friendship is an accident.
I'll tell you who it's not.
Okay.
Richard Kind.
No friendship is an accident. Can I be honest with you? No. Kick it too. And then my favorite Richard Kind quote. George. That's it.
I did
Okay.
it.
Well, I've already broken all the rules. I'm only supposed to take 3 seconds.
all right.
'Cause clearly I'm ringing in. As I'm being allowed, I'm just going to say, Kevin, I'm going to stay with the gal I brought to the dance because I know it's wrong, Tyra.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner of Who Tweeted, Mr. Josh Gad.
That was Bieber, wasn't it?
That was Paris. You're
Oh,
both
that was
wrong.
Paris.
Both wrong.
I would've-
See, who would
yeah.
write that?
There you
Sammy
go.
Levine, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Bring
Thank
those
you.
paws
Please
together.
sit down.
If this is going
Celebrities have so much to say.
Who tweeted?
Is the game that we just played.
Another pair of those shoes and bring me the change. What? Why would you?
I get it.
Echoes.
When someone says wear sensible shoes, you go right to the Echoes?
It depends what I'm doing that day. I often wear sneakers, but today I thought I'd class it up for our guest.
I think you look very handsome.
Thank you,
You
sir.
classed it up for our guest,
Thank you. You know, I wanted to. I respect them. I'm a fan.
but not of musical
pals.
theater.
Not of
I've
all
even
my
got-
work, not of my biggest contribution.
Here's the thing. I bet I would like you in the show,
Oh
Well,
boy.
that's nice.
but I don't know that I'd like the show.
Okay. The hole is deep enough.
How dare you?
At some point, are there practical jokes during a show like that you play on each other?
Yes, I once shit in one of my castmates' mouth.
That's not a practical joke. If I may, that's hostility.
Yes, then I misunderstood the question.
That's a hostile act.
There are always practical jokes. There is not a day that, especially once you're like past that 3-month mark, where on stage you're doing something to make somebody laugh. It just is the way it is.
Right.
There was one scene in particular where I'm standing at this doorway, and I have to like do this thing where I'm going. Most people would know this. Sam wouldn't.
Right.
But where I'm doing this thing where I'm going back and forth, and my friend Brian Sears and I would. The purpose of the scene was to see, basically, who could play emotional Russian roulette and hold off the longest from laughing, and it was. Inevitably, I was always the first one to explode. And the audience would never really quite understand why my character was having a laughing fit at that particular moment.
Right.
But there was always something going on. There was something we would notice about somebody in the audience, and it was just, snowball.
Jamie and I went to see Gabriel Byrne in a Eugene O'Neill play where the N-word is used twice. And one performance, a matinee, they bust in some kids, and one of which took great offense to this and stood up in the middle of the show. The second time the N-word was dropped by Gabriel's character, and the young man stood up and said...
It was a young woman, and she said, "What you say, motherfucker?"
So when something like that happens...
Nice.
You like that?
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you've got some...
And no, that was not stereotypical in any way.
No, I thought she sounded
I
Asian.
thought you sounded Asian too.
Yeah.
You said they were from Harlem. Did you not say that they were from Harlem?
Nope.
That's the Harlem
They
dialect.
were bussed in from Chinatown. That's what that means,
That's
right?
what that means. There were definitely moments. Here's the thing that you do notice after a while is that a lot of Trey Parker and Matt Stone fans enjoy inebriation. So, and we have lots of liquor and beer. So people.
Some of them are known to smoke the weed.
Some of them would also
As
smoke
well.
weed, but that would make them more silent, I think. But the louder, more tenacious bunch.
When people want to be a part of it, because as a stand-up comedian for far too many years, I'd rather the audience listen and offer up some laughter and occasionally some applause. But let's not speak
Yes.
to each other.
So let's not speak to each other,
So
or else you become Michael Richards. And
when it happens, the rule is ignore, ignore, ignore
Right.
until they're just so loud that you have to say something because now the audience is kind of depending on you. You can't break that fourth wall, so you have to ignore, 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 or do you?
The rule is that you should. I broke through on a number of occasions, but
When and why?
it's funny.
Someone won't answer their cell phone, they didn't turn it off.
Well, we never. I was waiting for a cell phone to go off and be a problem.
Year and a half, none?
Year and a half, none, because I had a great comeback if it happened. I was going to say,
do it
well,
now.
if that answers that question, turns out we get great reception in Uganda. But I never had an opportunity to do it. Thank you, I appreciate that. You're my first audience who's heard that joke. So I was really pissed that we were the one Broadway show that never had a rogue cell phone.
You would have been
Would've
an
been a
applause
brilliant-
break
yeah, would've
for
been- that's
sure.
It, that's it. My glasses went flying into the audience one day, and I remember screaming, I can't see anything. Please, God. I don't forget what the exact line was.
And then
but
somebody threw him back up on
somebody
stage?
threw him back up on stage. No, they somebody
Back up.
went off stage and got a new pair. But the worst was, God, this is hard to relive. I was singing. I was opening the second act.
Please say explosive diarrhea.
And I know there was a night that I did have explosive diarrhea where I had the flu.
And if I may, not the worst night, which you're about to tell.
Not the worst night. Actually, quite a lovely night.
Once you give into it.
Once you give into it,
Yeah.
and you treat that bathroom like a Philadelphia alleyway. Bam. That's a fifth reference. So.
Put the over-under at 4. This is fantastic.
So I'm singing this song. I'm about to go into this song, and my line is the cue, and I literally stop, and I look at my co-star and I hear the chord and it goes, bum. And that's all you hear, and that's all you see, is me going like this. It wasn't that the line escaped me, it was that the human language escaped me. It was that any form of
tried to
communication.
speak, and your brain knows it instantly.
My brain knows it instantly. This is the worst part. The guy in the pit, and that's orchestra, for those of you who don't know.
All right.
The guy in the orchestra shouts the cue at me.
Which was?
This is the best part. My co-star to my left, Asmaret, shouts the cue at me. The stage manager, off stage, shouts the cue at me. All I heard was, eh. I heard a ringing in my ear.
But you saw this?
Yeah, it was just, and I literally, the only thing that I could say is I looked at all of them and I said, what the fuck am I supposed to say? That was all that came out of my mouth. To this day, the worst improv of all time. But I was so lost. I was so terrified in the wilderness of my brain that I needed somebody to literally hold my hand.
You
and
needed a
tell me.
Sherpa
I did.
at that point to
I
get
did.
back to...
It was horrifying. And the reason was that we had, who's the guy who stars in Entourage?
Jeremy
Adrian
Piven.
Grenier.
Adrian Grenier. I don't like to badmouth anybody, but he wasn't the nicest, most respectful of viewers. And so he just kept distracting me, and I kept trying to think of like a way to...
Was he crossing his legs, flipping you off? How
He was
disrespectful can one be?
He was just kind of prickish, and I just remember...
Rolling his eyes and...
Yeah, he just was over it. Like, from the second he sat down, he just seemed over it. And maybe that's just his normal behavior, and if so, I apologize, Adrian.
Because that's a name.
Yes, exactly. And so I got the best of myself because I was so focused on that that I fucked myself up.
So he wins in the end.
So he always
Much
wins.
like the Taliban.
So he always wins.
You allowed him to win.
He is my Taliban, and always will be.
Isn't that nice? To be able to discover that?
Yes.
Of all the things that come out of that show, you find out who your arch enemy
Yes,
is.
he's my arch enemy.
That's pretty terrific.
It's true. That was the point of doing it.
Mine is a Jewish
This is not going to end well.
arch enemy.
A Jewish arch
He's
enemy.
a villain.
Okay.
No neck.
Do I know him?
Nope. Just thought of it now.
Well, you abandoned that bit awfully.
Lastly, your character in the musical is Elder Arnold Cunningham, so I must ask, off the Broadway stage, in real life, do you feel an odd responsibility as the godparent? We're halfway through this. To Richie Cunningham's godson. There, I got there.
That's a very good
Nope.
comparison.
Nope.
Wasn't worth the time it took.
Horrible. Just
But,
horrible. As I was writing it, I thought, no one cares.
But there's no point in even answering
Nope.
that. It was just a setup.
You are the godson, though. You are the godfather.
Of little Theo Gable, Howard Gable. My best friend growing up is Seth Gable, who I've known since I was 4 years old. Seth is married to Bryce Dallas Howard, who I've known since college, and they are two of my closest friends. And Ron Howard, who played Richie Cunningham, is one of the most generous, incredible people I've ever met. And
He's a little ridiculous. He makes Tom Hanks look like Hitler.
He really is the sweetest, nicest. I mean, they went to my wife's play last night in literally like a 20-seat black box theater. Shout out, by the way, the play is called Snow Angel, and you should absolutely see it. It's on Santa Monica Row, and she's phenomenal in it. And he went last night to go see it. And I was just like, you're Ron Howard. You're taking the time with his wife, Cheryl, and they're just the sweetest people ever. To make a long story short, I still think I've got you beat on that question in terms of length. It is absolutely a coincidence that my name is Cunningham, and therefore I don't give it much thought.
Portraying the Woz in the biopic Jobs, which you mentioned, Jamie loves how the name of this movie is spelled, lowercase j.
Lowercase j. like iPod. You get it? I had nothing to do with the marketing, by the way, on this.
You don't?
I don't.
Then I retract the question.
So,
I didn't even on the script. I didn't notice.
yeah. Yeah, Sam Levine makes an appearance in it.
All things Ashton, you went to the Sundance with the film?
I did.
And it was received incredibly well. So
Yes.
says The Street.
Yes.
That's got to be satisfying as
It's
hell.
really satisfying. I think that Ashton's extraordinary in it. I think that Sam is extraordinary in it.
Very sweet.
And
I think
his-
Kevin thinks
This
it's
can't be the first time you guys co-starred together, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We were up for a movie together.
good. Yeah. Now you got it right.
I didn't want to bring that up.
You got the big.
It's an adaptation of Do No Harm. At the time, they thought it was going to be a hit, and they went straight to the film adaptation.
Right.
Why
Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they jump to that
Yeah.
conclusion
It was-
before 2 episodes
That's
aired?
right.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be the Star Trek of its generation. Didn't turn out that way. So Sundance was a huge hit. I think the movie's terrific, and I'm really excited.
Comes out in April, right?
Comes out in April, I believe.
See it at the premiere.
See you at the premiere, Sam.
I didn't see it at the wrap party.
I wasn't at the wrap party.
Yeah, I know.
I was. Where was I? Oh,
Sleeping
oh
it
yeah,
off.
sleeping.
Next up, also, we should. You said you were writing.
The sequel to Twins.
That's unbelievable, man. It sounds.
Triplets.
First of all, I can't wait, and
Yes.
love the fact that that's being made.
It is surreal writing.
Will Ivan Reitman be involved?
Ivan is involved. Ivan is right now shepherding the project and overseeing.
Montecito, is that?
Montecito. My partner Ryan Dixon and I are co-writing it together, and we're really excited. I as a fan, a hardcore fan of the original, I'm doing the version of the movie that I have always wanted to see, and am dying to revisit those characters and hopefully match the brilliance of that original conceit. And by adding Eddie Murphy as their triplet, I think it's really going to be a fun and exciting film.
Pretty damn exciting.
Yeah.
Any idea when it will start?
Hopefully soon. Hopefully
Right.
soon. I know that the whole group is eager to do it, so it's a matter of making sure that the script is exactly what it needs to be.
Is this something you and Ryan, along with a bunch of other writers, went in and pitched different versions of how it might be done?
I believe so. What's funny is that I had no intention of writing it. I literally was meeting with Ali Bell, who works with Montecito, and I said to her, as a fan, I said, how's Triplets going? I know you guys are working on that. I'm so excited. And she said, actually, we're kind of at a standstill. And I was surprised by that because I've always imagined the version of my head and what I wanted to see. And so she asked me to come in and with my partner, just pitch it out for them. And we did, and turned out that we had something that they really liked. So it's, it's just one of those.
This is why you open your mouth at a meeting.
Yeah.
This is why you say things like this.
The other approach that I was going to go in with is just to ignore her.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably wouldn't have been as smart. I'm happy I did what I did.
Answered her question?
Talk to her.
Right. Always a good idea. Why would you take a meeting and not say anything?
That's right.
Doesn't make any sense.
Why would you just be so angry?
Yeah.
And
Or how about this? When she asks a question, you just say, what? Just sort
that
of put
next
out.
bite, yeah.
I'm going to allow, if you don't mind, this last tweet 5.
T5,
Is that David?
T5 forever now.
He's
There's
so
a couple
good.
more?
No, there's no new one. There's questions. But
Oh, there's a question. Yeah, shut up, Keckner. Fuckface. This is from the Facebook.
Mm.
Valentina V, because that's a name. Josh,
Yes.
have you met Steve Wozniak? And if so, did he give you any tips on how to channel your inner Woz?
I did not meet Steve Wozniak.
What a stupid question.
Well, no, I thought it was a very valid question. I didn't meet him. I requested to meet him, but unfortunately, I think he's associated with another Steve Jobs biopic.
Ah.
So I didn't have that opportunity. But I felt like I met him because God only knows, I listened to hundreds of hours of interviews and read his book I Was twice, and read the Isaacson book, and kind of just jumped in there. So I hope when he sees the movie, he'll realize that it's truly it was done as a tribute to his life and legacy, and I truly respect and admire the hell out of him.
I thought it was a tribute to Steve Jobs' life and legacy. You're now saying it should be called The Was?
No, I'm saying that my performance, I hope, is done in honor of his
But of
legacy.
course, I was being a smartass. So when you're offered a
You're
part
real
like that,
dick, yes.
yeah. Well, it was in time to let you know. I've been trying to let you down
Yes,
gently,
this is okay.
and in the end, I just get bitter and bitter.
Yeah,
that's
I
how
saw that.
That's how I say thank you.
Yeah, got it.
When this comes across, by the way, when the agent's on the phone, you're going down the litany of things you might be doing soon. And what about doing Was in the biopic on Steve Jobs? How did you feel about
It
that?
was one of those things where the director had reached out and I was terrified by the idea of portraying a living, breathing person, and at the same time, doubly engaged in doing it because of that terror. So it was, for me, it was kind of a no-brainer. I really wanted to dig into something like that.
Who directed?
This guy, Josh Stern, who's terrific and has really brought an eerie resemblance to that world and has done so with great depth of detail.
That's pretty damn exciting.
Do you know my character's name on Do No Harm?
Of course.
Josh Stern. That's true.
So you're saying he's based on you?
No, I'm saying I based my character on Do No Harm on Josh Stern.
I think you're saying he based his
the director.
40 years of existence on you.
I think your timeline's a little off.
See, now I think we need to talk about Do No Harm.
Well, what would you like to know that you didn't learn from 2 episodes?
I'm going to give you a couple of moments to gather your thoughts about your rendition of the Larry King game. I will tell our listeners and viewers that they can tune into Larry's show on Hulu. There's a clip of me getting Larry to play the Larry King game, which was the greatest meta moment I think I will ever experience.
I love him. He just did an interview with me recently.
Did you do the Hulu? His show?
Yeah, I did do it for in support of 1600, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I so loved, by the way, the energy of your character. I do love, that is, in 1600 Penn.
Thank you.
So when you're helping to sort of guide and co-create that show, the dossier says you weren't thinking about playing the part.
I wasn't.
At all.
No.
And then at some point, it becomes clear to you that, wait a minute, why am I not playing this fucking part?
Well, yeah, I think
Because it's too fun? Because
the idea was that I really wanted to just create and be behind the scenes on a project, especially coming off of an 8-show-a-week schedule.
is the network thinking, well, maybe.
Well, I think the network definitely didn't want that. I think that they really...
And how do they make that clear? Would it be like a playing with skywriting as you come out of your house every morning?
I think that they just made their voices loud and clear that they saw it, and I was honored that they felt this way, but they saw it as a vehicle for me, and they wanted that to happen in order to move forward with the series, which I understood. And it was kind of one of those things where after I read it and I saw what John Lovett, who, not to be confused with John Lovitz from Saturday Night Live,
John
but
Lovett,
John Lovett,
former speechwriter
for Obama, and then candidate Hillary Clinton. He wrote this incredible draft that just connected with me. And Jason Weiner, who had directed the Modern Family pilot and a lot of other great things, he just kind of, we sat down and we pitched out what this character was going to be, and I was like, if somebody else plays this, I'm going to be awfully pissed. So I finally caved.
Though I got to say, the nuances of the character is the part I found the funniest and the most surprising. Because it's easy to play the bull in the china shop, and as the dossier suggested in a previous interview, you found the ultimate china shop in the White House. But it was the nuances layered into the bull that were so surprising and so much fun.
Oh, thank you.
No, literally. I mean, because it becomes a character piece, much more so than physical comedy, which you're proven yourself adept at and studied at the feet of Mr. Chaplin. But you know, you've got now this rhythm, this cadence of this character that has got to be crazy fun.
It's
to
so
play.
it's so much fun. Skip is the ultimate character. I mean, the truth is that I love playing people like Skip and like Elder Cunningham because as a performer, as a comedian especially, you want to find the childlike innocence in yourself in order to get right. When you're a kid, you have no boundary. You have no sense of falling flat on your face to do stuff.
Failure is not an option.
It's not an option. It doesn't even exist as a word, right? So, to me, to actually embody a character with that notion is pretty fun, and it's a tricky balance because
It's unbelievably tricky.
it
and
is. You-
if I may, so many have failed attempting.
well, that's just it, and that's why part of why I was terrified about doing it is the character inevitably, the very idea of the character will be polarizing. People have a very strong response to bigger than life characters. Some people, by virtue of what he is, will hate him. And others will stick around long enough to see that it is an embodiment of these little things making up a bigger whole, as you pointed out. And so, to me, it's that fun in playing that game of seeing where the nuances are, but also how far I can take it. And it's an experiment. I mean, look, I have literally had rare occasions that I've had this much fun playing something, and I love it. I really do.
Well, here's to a gazillion more
Thank you.
episodes, please. Somebody slipped in one of those random questions. Why not? At Russell Hanna asks if you could join the cast of any TV show, past or present, what would it be and why? So, did you have a favorite show, and was there a favorite television character, perhaps?
Well, I guess it takes me back to SNL, doesn't it? I mean, like that would be the ultimate.
I just wanted an opportunity to kind of rub your face in it one last time.
Which
I know.
cast would you want to join?
The original cast.
Really?
Yeah.
They're not ready for primetime players.
To be a part of what that was, lightning in a bottle, you know,
And also just the attitude of we don't give a fuck.
we don't give a fuck. We're on prime time.
But you gave us late night
midnight.
where there's nothing on Saturday.
Well,
It
that's
never
just it.
has
It's like
been.
it's
Nobody's watching. Who gives a fuck?
It's crazy because you it became a lightning rod at midnight on a Saturday night.
Everyone.
It's still getting some of the best ratings on TV 30 plus years later, right? Like, it's crazy to me. SNL is the embodiment of everything that I love as a performer. It's to tackle as many different colors as possible in a limited time. It's that live performance, that instant gratification with an audience. It's essentially everything that I live for as a performer. So to me, it would be to be a part of that show at that
Then
time.
this should act as the fifth audition tape to host SNL in this case. 1600 Penn should become such a juggernaut for
May
NBC.
that coffee audition from earlier
Oh,
make it on to Mr. Michael's desk,
Please.
and he'll see that nobody's really ever done anything like this before.
no. That's your camera, sir. That's the one you'll be looking at when you, in
Lord.
fact, do your Larry King game.
Okay, great. And I just literally embody Larry King and say whatever I want.
Want to go over the 3 rules?
You didn't give me any rules, Kevin.
I want a bad Larry King impression.
You want a bad Larry King.
I don't want a good one.
You don't want a good one.
I laugh at a bad one.
Okay.
That's what makes me happy.
Great.
So no pressure
Okay.
to do a good one. And then it's that moment, Larry, where he shares something with us that none of us want to know. And then he goes to the phones. This is a little buffer
Okay.
about himself, his first ride in a pterodactyl, whatever.
Okay.
Those King things that
Okay.
only Larry can share, that are instantly boring to everyone else,
Great.
basically, is what we're looking for. And then you go to the phones. And when you go to the phones, if the name of the city is funny sounding, I say better. I say good.
Okay. Great.
So bad Larry King impression, minutia, that is Larry, funny sounding city.
Great.
That's it.
Okay. Bad impression.
Now take your time.
Okay, great. You know, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I have so many kids. I call them all by primary colors. Yellow! Have you done your homework? It's me, Larry King! Blue, get the fuck in here! It's your dad, Larry! King! Did anyone change Red's shitty diaper? It's me, Larry King! Cat's Deli, we're on. With Chaim Levine, Sammy's big brother.
That, ladies and Jews, is how you bring it. That's how you bring it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to give you one more chance.
Do I get another 20 out of
Get
this?
that right. Wow. That ball will never be found. It is deep and way out of here. Thank you endlessly, honestly, and truly. That's how we do it?
Wow.
Okay.
It's the promise of more to come.
Is that what it is?
This thing.
Did Bono teach you that?
Bono.
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does it seem like you've been here for a couple hours?
It feels a lot. It feels a lot shorter than it was.
Right.
But
And yet,
I'll never get that time back. So
and
take
you don't
that
really,
as you will.
and you don't really remember a time when you
don't-
weren't here.
Yeah, there were. I mean, it was like first it started off as like a NASA launch. There were a lot of complications that we were concerned were going to crash and burn.
The
And here
mission-
we are. We went to the moon and back.
There we have it. I can't think of a better way to end this particular episode. Please sit there uncomfortably for the next 90 seconds while I wrap things up, won't you?
Yes, this
Okay,
is like
good.
the portion of Rosh Hashanah where they ask for money after they've told you how important your atoning is. Go on.
Yes, that's exactly what's about to happen. Thank you all so very much for tuning into this particular episode. They tell me it's 163. I don't believe them. We're going to take a week off, shockingly. Next Sunday is the Academy Awards. That's not the reason. I'm going to be even more obnoxious to say Jamie and I will be in flight to the Bahamas. None of your business. And then we'll be back on the 3rd of March with Mark Duplass.
Can't buffer on that.
And then the 10th with John Favreau.
You can buffer on that.
Thanks again to Angie Johnson for filling in for Samantha Ward in the makeup department, although you wouldn't know with all the shining and the sweating, but she did a lovely job on me. I'm sorry that I ruined it. And Sam, it's great to have you back.
Thank you. So happy to be back.
Do more harm.
I'll see what.
That's
what
my
I can get
hope
away
for
with.
you, is to do more harm.
This guy. It's
Jamie,
the 1-2 punch.
good luck tonight. I mean it sincerely. I hope your answers are all correct and you, in fact, win free food.
Thank you.
Yeah. Kenny, Godspeed. My love to moms. To Josh and J-Mac out in the outer circle running the ship and its many failed launches. And to David, our intern, who did an unusually great job for first time.
He was fabulous.
Didn't break a fucking thing.
Not
He's
yet.
always impressive.
He does like everything I used to do. It's awesome.
Yes. Thanks for allowing Jamie to be lazy for the first time ever. Shiftless. Until next time, and as always, get out of my face.